Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. This is turn 8 of When Eagles Fight from GMT Games. This is June of 1915. We're going to move the game turn marker up, and we've got some reinforcements coming in, but including the Stefka Chit for the Russians, which they could certainly use right now, and another heavy artillery for the Germans. So let's first of all get set up for the random events roll. So let's take a look. We're still on turns 5 to 11 on that column, and we're going to make the 2-die roll. And we roll a 12. This is random event H. So let's see what that is. It's not going to be exactly the same thing. Allied victory at Gallipoli. Treat this as no event if rolled prior to game turn 11, which it is, so it's no event. If rolled on game turn 11 or after, subtract 2 from the Russian ammunition shortage die roll each turn the Russian controls Odessa. Which reminds me that I have been forgetting for the last several turns to do the Russian ammunition shortage check. That would have made a significant difference, I think. So that is a major kind of game-busting snafu. So, but of course, it's not on the turn sequence. I really feel like a more detailed turn sequence would benefit this game. I said that like several turns ago, and now that I realize that I screwed that up, that's a major flub. There's no way to go back and fix that without starting over, which I'm not going to do. So I guess we will just do it from this point forward and see what happens. And I believe that happens at the beginning of the Russian combat or movement phase. But I'll check that as we go into the new units and withdrawals phase. So the Russians only get one new reinforcement, this 343 Infantry Corps, but they do get Stefka, and they have 5 reinforcement replacement points to spend. So their situation is not good, despite the fact that they've been secret and unknown suppliers of ammunition supplying the Russian military for the last several months. They have 5 reinforcement replenishment points, so they're going to buy, in the interest of getting as many factors on the table as possible, these 3 single-step cores and this 2-step core. So let's see where those placements are going to go. The Russian line in the north opposite the Germans is pretty hosed. So we are going to place these 3 564 cores in Minsk, and we're going to place the 343 and the 674 in Smolensk, and we're going to have to rail these guys somewhere. The situation on the Austrian front is not particularly awesome. The Russians, as before, do not have any mandatory withdrawals. There are no non-event related mandatory withdrawals until turn 11 or 12, I believe. So, yeah, 11, turn 12, so we don't have to worry about that right now, unless it comes up as a part of an event. And we've had a lot of events that haven't done a whole lot so far. So let's see what the Central Powers get in their replacement phase. Austria-Hungary, as usual, has no reinforcements. They do get 2 replacement points, however. The only thing that they have to buy is this very lousy infantry division. And actually, I think this was on the table and the cat knocked it off, but I replaced it in the dead pile at that point. So they're going to accumulate 1 replacement. And we'll see what we're going to do with that. We're going to just put that in Budapest. It's going to be off map. You're not going to see it, but that's okay. It's not a very good unit anyway. The Germans, on the other hand, get 2 quite good, kind of standard German infantry corps, a 2nd artillery. So we're just going to put all these on the west map edge adjacent to Berlin. They also get 4 replacements. So let's see where those are going to go. They do have enough corps up on the line with the Russians that have taken step losses that they can spend them up there. Okay, so right off the top, we can take this guy and flip him back to full strength. We can take this guy and flip him back to full strength. Now, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, there is a depleted unit in here somewhere. I was pretty sure there was. But now I'm not seeing it. Let's check under here real quick. No. Well, this, that's 3 right there. That's 4, actually. So that is all that the German. We've got this guy down here. Let's flip him. No, let's keep him where it is. And this guy in Brest-Litovsk is where we will keep that. After reviewing the video, I determined that there were, in fact, only 3 replacement points spent there, so the Germans are going to flip this as well. I checked it rather than screw something up again. So that is the German reinforcement phase. They, too, have no required withdrawals. For the Russian strategic movement phase, we are going to, let's see here, we'll keep that where it is. These guys will strat move up here. No, that's dumb. We're definitely going to strategic move these guys from Smolensk down here. That is the most sensible move for those units. These guys will move conventionally, but I can still move 2 more. So I'm going to move these guys over here, I think. Because we've got some clear terrain in here where we've got the edge of the privet marshes in here, and movement's going to be a little more expensive. So that's 4 rail points for the Russians. Once again, I apologize for the really wide shot, but I'm doing stuff here that's a little bit wide-ranging. So we are going to take the German heavy artillery and push it up to Kovno. I believe we don't have a city in here, or a town in either of these hexes, and that's where it needs to go. So that is fine. We're going to take these other 5/6/4s and move them to Kulm, which is going to probably make the Russians really unhappy. And I think, can you see it on the screen? In Budapest, we're going to take this guy right here, send him to Vienna. Actually, we'll send him to Brunn, which I could have... I guess I could have put him in Vienna. It doesn't really matter. I just want him in a place where he can be a little more active. So that is the end of the Central Powers strategic movement phase. We're going to now do the Russian regular movement phase, and as I mentioned, the Russian lines up in the north are in extraordinarily terrible shape. The Germans have the ability right now to charge on Minsk with a minimum of 2 units, which will put them at a 2-to-1 attack on Minsk. And they could actually, depending on this hex, which is clear, they could actually bring a heavy artillery in there too, and they'll have the active core bonus. So they'll be at like a net +2 on that 2-to-1 attack. Despite that, I think I have to keep that 5/6/4 in Minsk in case that happens. So we're going to take this guy right here and move him 1. We will take the tweezers for this other guy. Move him there. Actually, that's dumb. This is 2 movement points. We'll move the entire stack. So that's going to be 2, 4 for that unit. We're lacking in awesome options here. So that's 1 right there. This stack will move 1, 2 to form something of a defensive line here. Now, do we just give up on Vilna? I'd have to say I think we do, considering the amount of forces that are going to be brought to bear on that. So we can move this at 2, 4. So let's take this unit that's currently in Vilna. We're going to abandon the city to the Germans in the hopes of maintaining something like a non-joke of a line here. And this guy right here can actually move. We'll move him 1, 2, and he'll stay right there. Now down here with the Austrians, the Germans are threatening big time in here, so I feel like I need to pull these units up. This guy can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do that. That threatens Lemberg, of course, and the Germans could drive east instead. So I think we hold on to Lemberg and put that there. Prez's Mill, or whatever that's called, is also a victory hex. I'm not sure if this guy's on the map or not, but we're going to pull this guy and put him there for 2 movement points. And let me reposition the camera because there's some more movement that's going to happen down against Austria-Hungary. Okay, I don't feel like I can give up on my siege of Krakow here, but maybe we need to take an alternate angle of attack. So let's move this one, and this one. Move this guy. He's right here right now. You have to maintain stacking limits. So there's 2 units in there right now. 3 units. This unit moves over here to there for 1. And he can actually move 2, 3 into here, which we'll do. And I didn't realize I had another half-strength unit here. And we'll take the 5, 6, 4 and move him 1. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This repositions our thrust here instead, so that we can surround Krakow with a larger number of troops, and it actually makes our supply issue a little less problematic. But thinking about this, one of these units, that's going to be the half-strength unit that was here, has to move back to protect this, because the Germans can just walk right in there, and that cuts these units out of supply. Now, we don't check supply until next turn, but even so, I think that's undesirable. Now, up here against the Carpathian passes, we're going to do something relatively similar. We're going to move these 2 units, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this guy who was here will move 1, 2. To maintain this no, hold on a second. We still need a line here. There may actually be an Austrian attack down here. I'm not 100% sure about that. This guy started here. No. Yeah, this would have been the guy that started here. So can we move him out? I believe we can. 1, 2, 3. Put a fair amount of defensive strength here. If we hold this, it doesn't matter whether we hold this or not, because we can trace a 4-path of supply from here. And that's not necessarily true, is it? The Germans cut both rail lines. So we're going to occupy this city of Gorlice as well. And that is the conclusion of the Russian movement phase. Okay, so we have a couple options down here for combat. We could attack the German stack, which is in the woods, which does not provide a defensive penalty. But that's at a total defensive strength of 12. Versus 8 right here, and we have 15 attack factors in this stack. I think what we're going to do is hit this instead. So our odds here on this attack will be 30 to 8. And let me verify that real quick. Yeah, 30 to 8, which is 3 to 1. And is there any defensive terrain here? There is not. So it's 3 to 1. Oh, you know what? At the start of the Russian combat phase, we're going to place Stefka and we're going to place it here. Whoops. I actually have a thing for Stefka. We're going to use this. We're going to put Stefka in this box, this hex, I should say. Extra blocks for the win. That way I can move around on top of it without disturbing it. And we have to check for Russian ammunition shortage, so let's do that. It's currently game turn 8, so we're going to roll on this column, which is the worst possible Russian ammunition shortage. None of the modifiers apply, though, so we'll roll the Central Powers die. We have a 5, so there are going to be 12 ammo shortage counters handed out, 6 of which will be applied by the Russians first, and then the other 6 will be applied by the Germans. This is bad news for the forces of the Tsar. The Russian player has to place 6 of these. And you can't place them on fortresses, so we're going to put one here. It's a relatively safe location. These 2 are also sort of safe. This halves the factors of these units. So we'll put... Boy, we don't want to do that, really, do we? These units are needed for attack, and if I have these factors, then that sure makes it seem like, you know what? We'll do an ammo shortage on this unit. Because that's the unit in, if I'm not mistaken, in the Mountain Pass. No, it isn't. This is. So we'll put it there, because that's a -2 defensive bonus. There's not really a better place to put any of this. Frankly, I am terrified to place any of it on the line with the Germans, because that's probably where all the German ones are going to go. So we are going to put one here and one here. That is not good news. So let's take a look at the ones placed by the Central Powers player. Okay, the first place I'm going to set these is right here. There's 2 units there. They will both be halved. So I'm going to put 2 of the 6 there. And the other ones are going to be right here, right here, right here, and right here. So, but possibly there was a train derailment between wherever the rifles came from and this particular part of the front line. So that's bad news. So let's take a look at the rest of the Russian combat phase. There are no non-ridiculous attack options up against the Germans, the way that front is laid out. But we do have this attack going on, and this is a Stefka Attack, and we have, I believe, 18 in defense here. We have actually 19 in defense here. And let's see what we have in offense. We have 10. That is 16, 26, 32, 37, 43. So that is a 43 to 19. That's a 2 to 1. And there's nothing -2 to 1 down 2. That is a terrible, terrible odds attack. And I don't see any way, given the forces available here. I think I forgot to give him the 2 to 1, the -2 last time, actually. I don't see any way to make it any better. So let's roll it up. If this does not work, I think, so that's a 3 on the 2 to 1. That is 1 and 1, which hey, could have been worse, I suppose. On the one half, these are all one-step units, so that'll just come off. And we should be able to reduce one of these. We'll reduce this one to its half-strength side on the Russian side. Now, over here near Krakow, we're going to attack this 8 with this 30. That's a 3 to 1 straight up. You know what? Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I forgot the +1 for Stefka. So that roll was a 3 on a 2 to 1. It's actually 4, but that is in fact the same result. So whiff on that. Okay, so we're at 3 to 1 here. Is that right? Straight up. So let's roll that up. 5 on the 3 to 1. That's 1 attacker loss and 2 defender losses. That means the Austrian units are just wiped out. what did I say, 5? That's 1 step loss for the, that's going to be a whole unit actually. But we can advance after combat, and we will to there. Okay, so that actually opens Krakow up a little more to pressure from the Russians. That is a victory, a significant victory. I'm not sure, given the very precarious situation that the Russians are in right now, that that's going to make much of a difference. Looking at the attrition phase, I believe that everything is still okay. Just double checking this unit, 1, 2, 3, 4 is fine. Everybody up on the east front is fine. So attrition phase is has no effect in this particular Russian player turn. So let's do the Central Powers player turn. Okay, since we really have to maintain this right here at all costs, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 to replace that there. And then down here we'll go 1, 2, 3. And actually we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And think about, that's 6, that's 11 versus 2. That's a 5-to-1 attack. I think we're going to take that. Let's mark that as such. Now let's now pay attention to what the Germans are doing in the central part of the front. The way I see it here, we have an excellent opportunity to take these 2 locations. So this is going to be what? That's a straight up attack, and it's 2 factors. So we're actually going to move this for 2. We're going to move this guy down for 2. We're going to move 1, 2. We're going to move these guys down for 1 each. We're going to try and take both of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. What do we have here? We have 2 factors. We have 5 on the offense. Where was this guy? 1, 2, 3, 4. This guy will be out of supply. 1, 2, 3, 4, unless the Germans win one of these 2. So we need to make sure that happens. So with that in mind, we are going to go 1, 2 there, and let's put a German markers here and here for now. In the interests of not losing that, we're going to move this cav 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we can actually pull that control marker out. And that is it for the center part of, no, maybe not. So these guys down here are currently achieving no objective whatsoever. So we're going to move them 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that also puts them in supply range of both of these 2. And they're going to hit Tarnow. So let's mark Tarnow. Let's also mark these other locations that we are hitting. These are not super high odds attacks, but I feel pretty good about them. Now, hopefully I won't roll as badly as I did in the Oberst phase last time. Up here on the line with Russia, we are going to do kind of a lot of movement. We're going to move that there. I could technically move this guy up, and I'm thinking about it. We're going to move the heavy artillery 1. Let's verify that we have the movement factors for that. 1 or more of these might be not open terrain. They actually are open terrain, so that's 1, 2 with that. This will move, oops. This will move up. These guys will move up. We'll put a German control marker here to reflect that. This unit is not doing anything useful where it is at, So we'll go there, and I think, where are we attacking exactly? We're clearly attacking here with the heavy artillery. We're going to attack here with the stack on the end, I think. And actually, given that, I probably would have placed one of those ammo markers differently, but there's not much I can do about that. We're going to attack here. So we're going to have one from here, these two there, these two there. Another nice thing about these little triangular risk markers is that you can pick them up with tweezers very easily. Okay, so this guy's spoken for, these guys are spoken for, these guys are spoken for. What do we have here? There's no reason not to pull that up. Actually, I have so many guys here, I can keep them in reserve. These are spoken for. These are spoken for. Does that mean that I want to hit here instead? Let's figure that out. That's going to be 10 factors against the 6 here, versus this, which is going to be 12 factors against 3. That's 4 to 1. So this is the better attack. So we're going to probably once again blow the Russian line wide open here. But we've got some flanking problems going on here as well, which I'm not really 100% comfortable with. But that's what it is. So let's hop down to the Austria-Hungary area and do those combats first. So first we will do this combat. That's going to be 2 factors against 3, 2 factors against 11, which is a 5 to 1 in a mountain pass. So down 2. 5 to 1 down 2 I will take. Ugh, that's a 1. That is 1 attacker loss. A loss that the Austrians can ill afford. So actually, what that means is that was a dumb attack. So that one's completed. Looking at the situation in Preußen, here we have 2 factors against 6. So that is a 3 to 1 with no other modifiers. No, that's not true. It is a 3 to 1 up 1 because of the German active core. That is a 2 on the 3 to 1. That is 1 attacker loss, which is not good, because now it's still not a bad unit, but it no longer gets the active core bonus. So that was not a successful attack. It's the Austro-Hungarians' fault. We're coming out here to save their bacon. Here we have 2 factors in defense, and we have 9 factors in offense. That is a 4 to 1 with no terrain modifiers. That is a reasonable attack. Can we see the cup? 4 to 1, and we have a 5. That is a attacker 1, defender eliminated. So the defender is eliminated. And hey, we've removed an ammo shortage marker, so there's that. These are actually able to advance here. And this rail line is now cut. We'll do this attack next. That is 10 to 3. So that is a 3 to 1. There's no active core here. There is a river, so it's a 3 to 1 down 1. Oh, okay, 3 to 1 down 1. His attacker loses 2 steps. That was painful. I did take 1 of the 3 additional objectives, however. And here's actually the most, in many ways, the most important one. This one right here. That's why I brought the active core down here. We have 10 factors in attack against 4 factors in defense. So we're just +1 for the active core, and that's a 2 to 1. This is critical, because if the Germans take this city, all this stuff is out of supply. And that is a huge problem, and the Russians have only one step guarding it. What did I say? 2 to 1, up 1. So that's a 5 on the 2 to 1. That is 1 attacker loss. 1 attacker loss, 2 defender losses. So they lose that. This is probably a single step unit, I would think it is. So we're going to keep that, and we'll reduce this by a step. The Russians are going to have to try to break out of that. Now, we don't check Russian supply in the Central Powers Attrition Phase, so that's important. So the Russians will have a chance to break out of this mess. But this is a huge corner of the Russian army. That's just, I mean, there's a lot of problems for breaking out of that. And we can actually pull this off, and we can pull this off now. Oh, no, wait a minute. Actually, the attack we wanted to make was actually not here. It was here. It's the same odds. I computed the odds correctly. It's the same unit, so that's fine. So yeah, these guys can actually trace supply, but these guys can't. They can't trace 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. They can't. Okay, so that is what I thought it was. I just moved the wrong guy at the end of it. All right, let's zoom up to the front up north. So I think we're going to go north to south here. So this whole stack is ammo short. Well, let's go north to south. This stack width is at 12. I can get it out. 6 and 6 is 12. That is going to be a 3 to 1 plus 1 for the active core, but minus 1 for the marsh. So it's going to be a 3 to 1 straight up. Ugh. Wow. 2 losses for the attacker. That is dismal. And that comes off. All right, let's hope for some better rolls. This particular die is actually pretty garbagey right now. Okay, so we have 10 right there, including an active core. Plus 5 is 15, 21, 26. We have 26, plus we're going to use the artillery. These guys are halved, so 26 to 5 is a 5 to 1. Down 1 for the swamp or marsh, but up 1 for the German active core, and up 3 for the German heavy artillery at 5 to 1. How about that? That is a 9 at 5 to 1. That's a breakthrough and an extermination. So these guys come off. That is bad for the Russians. So let's see what we can do here. I probably should have hit in the middle first, actually. Yeah, I should have. Oh well, it's too late now. So we'll move the active core up. Maintain the line elsewhere. Okay, and let's do this guy next. Okay, so we have 3 factors in defense there, and we're going to have 12. So that's going to be a 4 to 1 plus 1. We're going to take that right here. What did I say? 12 to 3 is 4 to 1, up 1. 4 to 1 up 1 is with a 5. 5 will be a 1 attacker loss, but defender eliminated. And what we will do is move that up there. And then we're going to look at this stack. This is going to be 3 factors in defense. And we got pretty good units here. So we have 5, 5, and 6. That's 16. So that's 5 to 1 in open terrain, +3 for the heavy artillery, +1 for the German active corps. So that's 5 to 1, up 4. And I needed the 4. That's a 6. That's a breakthrough and an elimination. That's what I was looking for, right here in the middle. So the good news for the Russians is all these guys who are out of ammunition are all dead now. So they don't need rifles anymore. So let's see what we can do. We can... we have to move this artillery with one of the units. And I think it can't advance after combat. So we're going to move this up. We're going to move this up. We're going to move this here. Actually want to keep that there, and I think this is going to stay there. I'll have to check that. I'm not absolutely sure I want to advance that guy after combat anyway. Oberst, by the way, is available next turn. I believe I have attacked with everybody I would like to attack with. Is that actually correct? I believe it is. So we will call the Central Powers combat phase, and there's no Oberst phase this turn, to a close. And just do a quick eyeball check for attrition. The only guy I'm terribly concerned about is this guy, and he is actually fine. He's kind of out in his salient, which is not advisable, but, well, think about that. The Russians are going to place reinforcements in Minsk. I mean, they would be... I think this guy's dead. The Russians are going to place reinforcements in Minsk. They'd be foolish not to. So with that in mind, that stack's probably going to get hit, but at the same time, there's nothing there. It is a town, which I want. At the current time, we hold 1, 2, 3, 4 Russian victory cities. On turn 11, the Russian revolution number is 11, so we need to take 1, preferably 2 more by that time to have a reasonable chance to win the game on that count. Otherwise, we have to wait till turn 15 when the number is also 11. So it looks like we're going to take Minsk pretty soon, though. I'm not sure I see any real way for the Russians to bail themselves out, and they don't even actually get any reinforcements next turn. So we do ordinarily check for victory, but it's not one of those turns, so turn 8 is completed. I want to thank you for watching. Please leave me some comments, like the video if you're enjoying this series. Please feel free to share it around, and subscribe to the channel.